Recording in progress.
Okay, good evening. This is the June meeting of the South Suburban Computer Club of the Chicago Computer Society. And we are tonight going to be covering some various topics that all relate mostly to Windows 11, but it does apply some to our Windows 10 people as well, because not everybody is on the track for going to 11, but that's part of the reason for tonight's meeting is why some may be holding off or some people jump the gun a little bit too soon. So what I'm going to do here is see if I can figure out what I'm doing. It'll be a help, I'm sure. And I've got to do a little bit of sharing and hiding stuff. There we go. Okay. Now, I don't have a lot of videos this evening. I only got a 5. And there will be a handout that will be downloadable by everybody here uh, towards the end of the meeting. In these particular videos, a few of them are a little bit too long, so I'll probably only show you part of it. And all of these items that are showing up on the browser in a tab, they're in the handout. So you can look at the videos at your heart's content and you can read the articles firsthand. So let's see if I can figure out what I'm doing. And
Welcome to another video from explainingcomputers.com. This time I'm going to talk about some important Windows developments. Specifically,
are you guys hearing this? Okay. I just want to make sure.
going to detail what we currently know about Windows 10 updates beyond October 2025, as well as the growing support for ARM processors and the increasing focus on AI. So, let's go and get started. Windows 10 reaches end of life on October the 24th, 2025. And indeed, if you're currently running Windows 10 and your PC doesn't meet the requirements to run Windows 11, you probably already had this screen pop up with a prompt to visit this page, which notes that after 14 October 2025, Microsoft will no longer provide security updates or technical support for Windows 10. Your PC will still work, but we recommend moving to Windows 11. However, what this page doesn't immediately tell us is that there will be an extended security update or ESU program for Windows 10, just as there was for Windows 7. But this time, it'll be possible not just for enterprise users, but also individuals and organizations of all sizes to extend the use of Windows 10 devices past the end of support date, as they will be able to receive critical and important security updates through an annual subscription service. The only prerequisite is that users must be running the latest and last version of Windows 10, namely version 22H2. Microsoft also points out that ESUs will not include new features. So all you'll get is security updates, which to be honest are the only kind of updates that most people ever wanted in the first place. So the question is, what will an extended security update cost? Well, it appears there'll be different prices for educational, commercial, and home users. And right now, Microsoft has only announced ESU pricing for 2 of these groups. Starting with education, the cost of extended support updates will be $1 per license for the first year, $2 for the following year, and $4 for the third year. So, for $7, anybody with an educational Windows license will be able to obtain Windows 10 security updates until October 2028, which I think is a pretty fair deal. Meanwhile, as Microsoft details on this page, for commercial users, the price will also double every consecutive year for a maximum of 3 years, but with the base price starting at $61 a device for the first year. So, this means that 3 years of commercial ESUs will cost $427. However, Windows 10 devices used to access Windows 11 Cloud PCs will get Windows 10 Extended Security Updates for free. And those managing business PCs via the cloud solutions Microsoft Intune or Microsoft AutoPatch will get a 25% discount, paying $45 per device in year 1 and $315 for 3 years. So, the difference between education and commercial ESU prices is dramatic, and clearly a marketing and public relations matter rather than an indication of cost price. So, what about the cost of Windows 10 Extended Security Updates for home users? Well, if we return to the page of Microsoft Wants Home Users 2, and we scroll down and open up what is the Windows 10 Extended Security Updates program, we get an acknowledgement that the ESU program exists, along with a statement that final pricing and enrollment conditions will be made available closer to the October 2025 date for end of support. Or, in other words, Microsoft does not currently want to tell us what it will charge private individuals for extended Windows 10 security updates. Now, again, this is presumably a marketing issue, as Microsoft would rather inform its customers that they need to buy a new PC, either directly from Microsoft or from a third-party vendor from whom Microsoft will probably earn a commission. So, whether the home user ESU price will be close to the low fee being offered to education users or the extortionate one being charged to commercial customers, we simply do not know. But my own hunch is that the cost will be closer to the education fee, as Microsoft does not want loads of bad publicity from forcing loads of perfectly decent home PCs into landfill. And so my guess is that it will try to diffuse the situation by charging home users a few dollars for extended security updates, although I doubt it will reveal this until mid-2025. And of course, as I've covered in other videos, it's possible to update most older PCs to Windows 11 even if Microsoft deems them to be unsupported. And migrating to other operating systems like Linux or Chrome OS is also a viable option for most hardware. Or you could even take the risk and run Windows 10 with no security updates, although personally this is not something I would recommend. Right, let's move on to the increasing support we're seeing for running Windows on a computer with an ARM rather than an x86 CPU. Microsoft first had a major attempt to run Windows on ARM hardware with its Surface RT tablets launched back in 2012, and which were not a great success. But in 2019, Microsoft tried again with its Surface Pro X tablet with a Qualcomm S1 ARM processor. More recent Surface tablets with SQ2 and SQ3 ARM processors have followed. And indeed on this channel, we've experimented running the ARM version of Windows 11 on both Raspberry Pi 4 and Orange Pi 5 single-board computers. In 2023, Microsoft even launched a desktop ARM development kit called Project Volterra. And if you want to see this in action, there's a great review on the Nova Spirit Tech YouTube channel, which I'll link to in the video description. Most recently, on May 20th, 2024, Microsoft announced a new computer category called Copilot Plus PCs. Here, the hardware requirement is for 16 GB or more of DDR5 RAM, at least a 256 GB SSD or universal flash storage drive, and a processor that includes a neural processing unit capable of at least 40 trillion operations per second. As this indicates, and as we'll discuss in the next part of the video, Copilot Plus PCs are intended to provide access to the most advanced artificial intelligence models. However, when they go on sale on June the 18th, 2024, all of the first wave of Copilot Plus PCs will have an ARM rather than an x86 processor. And so this is a big moment for Windows on ARM. Specifically, all of the initial Copilot Plus PCs will have a Snapdragon ARM64 processor from Qualcomm. This will include new laptops and tablets from Microsoft, Dell, ASUS, HP, Lenovo, and Samsung. So we're talking about quite a range of new ARM Windows devices. Depending on the model, inside this new ARM hardware lies either a Snapdragon X Elite 12-core CPU that comes in 3 slightly different versions, or a 10-core Snapdragon X Plus. Performance the X Elite range is supposed to be similar to an Apple M3 and to beat or compare favourably to many x86 CPUs. Energy efficiency is also excellent and is claimed to result in tablets and laptops with a battery life of between 13 and 26 hours. When it comes to software, Windows and ARM devices can run either native ARM applications or x86 and x86-64 Windows applications via emulation. Although for the best performance and energy efficiency, native ARM Windows applications are required. And with the launch of Copilot Plus hardware, we're going to have more native ARM Windows applications available than ever before. These will include not just native ARM versions of Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneDrive, OneNote, and Teams, but also native ARM64 versions of the Chrome web browser, DaVinci Resolve, the Affinity Suite, Blender, Zoom, Spotify, and WhatsApp. In addition, Adobe now have ARM Windows versions of Photoshop and Lightroom, with Premiere and Illustrator joining the lineup sometime in June 2024. Right now, all mainstream computers running ARM Windows are expensive tablets and laptops. But with support for ARM Windows software clearly growing, I would expect to see desktop computers that can run Windows on an ARM processor to come to market in the next few years, and this will include price-competitive mini PCs. Indeed, in an interview with Reuters in June 2024, ARM CEO Rene Haas stated that ARM's market share in Windows, I think truly, in the next 5 years, it could be better than 50%. And in the past few weeks, low-cost motherboards with embedded ARM processors, like this Radza 5 ITX, have also started to arrive. And whilst this particular board has no official ARM Windows image available, it does suggest that self-builders may fairly soon be putting together their own ARM Windows computers. As noted earlier, all Copilot Plus PCs include a powerful NPU for running advanced AI models. Indeed, as Microsoft states, Copilot Plus PCs will enable you to do things you can't on any other PC. Specifically, the new Windows 11 recall function is intended to help us remember things we've done on our computer that we may have forgotten. Or, as Microsoft state, with recall, they are setting out to solve one of the most frustrating problems we encounter daily, finding something we know we have seen before on our PC. Today, we must remember what file folder it was stored in, what website it was on, or scroll through hundreds of emails trying to find it. When activated, Windows Recall runs in the background, taking snapshots every few seconds to monitor everything that happens on the computer. These snapshots are then used to create a personal semantic index that is stored locally on the device and which can be searched by describing things using natural language. Microsoft claims that the semantic index is private and secure as it's not uploaded to the cloud and is encrypted. And Windows Recall will not capture anything viewed in a private browser window. Now, personally, I struggle to identify with the problem that Microsoft are trying to solve here, because I don't have a problem finding things on my own computers, because I keep everything nicely organized. And I can always get back to things I found on the web, normally because I've kept a bookmark or stored a link to the document. If I haven't, I can use standard web search tools to go back to somewhere on the web, and it just works. So I don't want Windows recall on any of my systems. I don't want anything like it, any operating system. I'd like to keep the operating system nice and dumb over here, and I will use AI when needed over there. I can see AI's got potentially valuable application, but I don't want it integrated into the operating system. That to me just seems to be completely unnecessary. And it's potentially creating a massive set of problems in the future. Because I can't imagine if hundreds of millions of people have got this turned on, and it's turned off by default, but it's turned on in Windows during the setup process, and lots of people will turn it on accidentally, I'm sure, because Microsoft will try and make them do that, they will make them do that. That means hundreds of millions of people will be running Windows recall and having everything they do being monitored, semantically analysed, stored on a local device, incredibly valuable information. And if you've got all this incredibly valuable information, someone will want access at some point, whether it is Microsoft or other companies, and they find ways to convince you to give them access to it, or people hack it. It just doesn't seem sensible. So for me, this is a bridge too far. As an operating system's got certain functions. One of those functions, as far as I'm concerned, is not to monitor me and to track me and to build a model of my activity so it can throw it back at me in the future. Anyway, you may have a different view. If so, please let us all know down in the comment section. What do you think of this trend to integrate AI into Windows? But now that's it for another video. If you've enjoyed what you've seen here, please press.
Okay, that one's really over with. The rest is kind of like an ad, as it were. I'm going to bring up two other things related to this video here, and then we're going to take a small break for Q&A. This is an article announcing Microsoft announces 11.24H2 is still coming despite recall controversy, which this person in the video was bringing up. But there's a catch. That comes in a little while that you're going to find out. And I'll let you guys read this article on your own. Most of these articles, I'm just going to tell you briefly something about it, and then I'll let you do the regular reading. This one here, Microsoft pulls a release preview build of 24H2 after the controversy. And the reason for that was they at least temporarily pulled back the recall feature. But I'm going to leave the other video to fill you in more on the recall feature. So don't panic. At this point in time, I'll open up the floor to questions and responses, as well as problems that people may have. Has anybody got anything they want to ask the group? How about you, Harry Hauser? You had originally something.
But it's not related to these three items.
No, that's okay. It has nothing to do with that. If you got questions on these two articles and the video, you can bring that up as well in this Q&A. This is any kind of time for bringing up problems, questions of any kind, etc., that we might be able to answer.
All right, then, if I could just very quickly, I replaced my modem and router combination, two separate pieces, about 2 months ago with a single gateway that integrates the two of them. To the best of my knowledge, this morning is the first time I rebooted. I think that's true. Within a few minutes, everything came back, but I just realized maybe half an hour ago that a smart outlet that controls my lighting in the den did not come back. It's still offline. So for tonight, so that I'm not in the dark, I just manually reset the lights. But does anybody have any experience, has anybody heard that before or dealt with it? Or something that I'm missing when it comes to smart outlets? Because that's the only one I have in the house.
Well, the thing is, it may be which one on your router, is it a 2.4 or 5?
Well,
Because
those
these,
devices only work on a 2.4.
correct.
Oh, sorry, then I didn't understand your question.
Well, that your device is a 2.4, but
Correct.
the way you set up your router, you probably should have it. It's probably both 2.4 and 5.
And with the same name, apparently,
Right.
that's how
Yeah.
they do it now. Yeah.
Well, when
Actually,
you probably had to reset your thing. You had to reset your smart device, because I had the same type of thing.
there is two other things, maybe three. Number one, modem router. A modem just takes a analog signal from the incoming line to your house and turns it into a digital signal that goes into the router, that's either as a separate item or in a combo device. A router acts like a traffic cop, directing traffic to various things that are connected to it, either through Wi-Fi or Ethernet cable. It's a computer. Computers become, figuratively speaking, dust collectors. And over time, they can get somewhat confused and not working as normal as we expect them to run. So probably once a month, I'd recommend rebooting the computer, but you unplug it. The router, excuse me. Unplug it, keep it off at least 30 seconds to a minute before plugging it back in, then let it come up on its own. Another factor with especially Wi-Fi and the names, I do make a distinction between 2.4 and 5 gigahertz, because if they got exactly the same name, you have no idea which one you're necessarily connecting to unless the passwords are at least different on the two, which they should be anyhow.
Yeah.
And a third thing to look into, if you really want to, for that one smart device that turns on or off a light, you might want to set up in the router under 2.4 a guest account and change that device to look at the guest account. That way it can talk to whoever made that device, which they're doing anyhow, without exposing your in-house network for your computers. Any question on that?
Interesting. It's just very quickly, and then by all means, we can move on. So this is 2 months old. So rebooting once every 2 months sounds about right.
Well, it might be and it might not be. You might want to, say, a month from now, restart it and see if you notice any difference between a 2 month coming back up and a 1 month. In some cases you might, in some cases you won't notice any difference.
Yeah, good point. Well, tomorrow morning, I'm going to reset it and do exactly that.
Okay.
On the question of the passwords, just for anybody's information, the internet provider, in one place, it's Comcast, in one case, it's Optimum, specifically suggest using the same password so that when necessary, for those devices that can use both bands, if one comes out temporarily, it can automatically go to the other. So just so you know that there are times when they recommend using the same password for both.
I
Okay.
understand that concept, honestly, as a tech, but usually it's a case where most devices outside of phones, outside of tablets, laptops, and desktops, the smart devices only have one frequency, 2.4. They don't really have dual band. And number two, if you're getting the 5 gigahertz at the moment, you're lucky, because if both have the same name and password, then you have a situation where your systems that are connecting to it have to figure out which band to give you. And
Yeah.
if, say, for some reason, 5 gigahertz failed, you're going to notice precipitously that you are now on 2.4 if it's still working. And because the difference between the two in speed is night and day, quite literally. Your 5 gigahertz may give you up to 1 gigabit per second speed, whereas 2.4, the maximum is 100 megabits per second, and most of them only give you about 75 megabits per second. And trust me, you will notice a difference even if your service is only 100 megabit per second service from your ISP.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions or comments about the first video and the 2 articles?
Yeah, in this recall business, this for recalling, isn't that going to take up a lot of storage to do that?
Well, they're saying what, and I'm giving you a little bit of preemptive information. This is a screen snapshot every few seconds. So it's like taking a screenshot with your snipping tool in Windows. Okay.
Right.
And they supposedly encrypt it, but also AI software is going to read the content. If you are a person who doesn't use a password manager and uses a Word document or a spreadsheet, and you have your document open with all your account passwords, it now has all your passwords. Now, if you have a password manager, if you open it up to a certain view that shows a lot of your accounts and passwords, etc., that would also be a problem. But in most cases, the password managers only show you folders of content. They would show what accounts you have. They might show your user identification, but they don't show you the password. So that's a little bit of safety on that. But still, some people do not use even a password manager correctly. Every single online account you must log into must have an absolutely unique password, period. If you have the use, like a lot of people, where they use only 1 to 5 passwords for all of their accounts, that means you have multiple accounts likely for each of your passwords. Once they know just one of those, if they also know your other accounts, they're going to start going around and seeing if that password is used on any of those accounts. And they will take control of those accounts or use the accounts and extract your personal information that you've given each of those accounts. And medical and any financial That's a disaster waiting to happen. You've got to have absolutely unique passwords. It used to be when I first started out with a password manager, I used 12 character passwords. Then some years later, it was recommended 16 character. So I switched to 16 character. 1 or 2 years back, it was recommended go to at least 20 character passwords. People are not going to remember complex combinations of capital letters, lowercase letters, numbers, and special characters 12, 16, 20 characters long. There is an alternative. It's called a pass phrase. A pass phrase means that you have hopefully more than 2 words. You have some numbers and at least 1 or more special characters. The best way to use 2-word is to have 2 words that are not associated with one another. Give you one example. Perfect squirrel. Whoever would think of the word perfect and the word squirrel being used together as part of a password? It doesn't make rational sense. You can also use limericks, rhymes. You can use phrases from movies or songs, etc., etc. Just keep it within, I would say, no more than 30 characters tops. However, for a password manager, you have to have a master password phrase. The longer that phrase is, the more secure it is. All your passwords in a password manager are managed on your system. They are encrypted on your computer. A copy of the encrypted information is put up usually in a cloud account, except for a couple password managers. So the end result is you have total control over it. And even if the site, that password manager, is breached by hackers, as long as you did your due diligence in having a good passphrase that's hard to guess, with upper lowercase, with numbers and special characters, the chances of them having a big, powerful computer to crack the encryption are mighty small. It's the people who have lousy password skills and aren't using the password generator in the password managers that are the ones that get bit. And they'll give that password manager a bad name because they used a lousy password or a lousy passphrase that was easy for criminals to guess and get into their account and get all their other information. Does that about cover it for most people on about passwords and password managers?
That didn't answer my question about this recall thing on storage.
I covered a little bit of that, and that what I told you before. There's more coming, so you're going to have to sit on it for a little bit. Not much time will pass. I guarantee it.
Okay.
Let's see here. Does anybody else have anything in the way of questions or something that they want to ask the group? Okay. Hearing nothing, I'm going to briefly play this one. I'm not going to go all the way. I don't totally agree with this next one. In that, yes, Microsoft made a competitive product for CCleaner. CCleaner is a good product. There's one thing I know it will not do that this alternative product Microsoft made. And the funny thing is, most of what they made already has existed in Windows going back about 30 years. And you've had the tools all this time. The problem is, most people do not really investigate what's on their computer and what it might do or may not do. Bob?
Just a little footnote about CCleaner itself. It also is only doing things that Windows has in it. It's just that a lot of this stuff is so deeply buried, you'd never find it.
Yes, that's true too. But there's one thing the PC Manager has that CCleaner doesn't have, but CCleaner has several things that don't seem to appear in PC Manager.
Yeah,
So
it's nice to have different tools.
Yes, and different concepts. And you got to understand, every one of us in this meeting and everybody else in the world has their own perspective on any topic. Therefore, if you are a software developer, you are creating software based upon your individual perspective of what it is you're trying to achieve. That said, that means there's going to be differences between products that do similar things, and you have to decide which seems to be best for you. I have both CCleaner and PC Manager. So I'm fine with both of them as far as that goes. I use others as well because, especially cleanup programs, because of this perspective, they don't all see the same things and they don't see them exactly the same way, and they have different levels of risk. Most of them that do any kind of a registry cleaning are worthless to a lot of people because they're expecting more out of the product. The people who created the registry cleaning features in various pieces of software, the last thing they want to do is break your system and have you blame them for it, and them trying to help you correct the problem. So the end result is they take a very safe approach usually and do a minimal of work. But the registry grows and grows and grows over time. Every little bit you can take out, even just safe stuff, shrinks it a little bit, not much, but a little bit, and it affects your boot time on the computer because Windows loads up everything via the registry. And therefore, the bigger the registry is, the longer it takes for things to get going on your computer before you can start doing much of any kind of work on the computer. Now, I'm going to go ahead with this one and at least start it out.
But you guys got another video. Microsoft have made a alternative to CCleaner. It's called Microsoft's PC Manager. And basically, they are claiming that it will boost your PC, clean your system and free up space and boost PC performance. Of course, we've heard all of this jargon before from other sites like CCleaner and other sites that claim to do a lot of this stuff by using software like this. Manage your storage, give your PC a spring clean and manage large files and use storage settings to let Windows free up your storage for you. That is built into Windows itself. And then you've got pop-up management, which reduces ads and pop-up interruptions. Enjoy a cleaner, uninterrupted computer experience. That's really funny since they're the one that are adding ads into their operating system. Also, health check, find and fix issues fast and scan and clean threats with one click. And of course, we have toolbox and mini toolbar. We're going to take a look at this after a quick word from today's video sponsor.
I'm going to stop it there since we don't need the sales pitch. I'm going to get out of the full screen view. Now, I've brought this up to this group and others before. When you are in YouTube videos, always come down here and look for the word more, which is a hyperlink. So if you click on that, it will give you more information and references. It also has transcript. You can get a transcript of what is being said in the YouTube video. Some of them also have a breakout this way or with a timeline at 0 to say a minute 30 seconds is the intro, minute 31 seconds to 9 minutes 59 seconds is the main first topic, and then they follow it up with other topics that were covered in the video. And you can jump to any one of these start points. Usually if it's done by pictures, it's done down here horizontally, not vertically. These are some other videos that this person is trying to present to you. Just like all the videos over here. Always look through them. Sometimes you're looking for one thing and you find articles or videos of other things that are of interest to you. Therefore, I click them, I open up a new tab, but I also stay with my current tab that's open. So I would take this and I would right click it and say open in a new tab. So right after this tab here would be the new tab that I was opening up. The next thing everybody should be familiar with is usually down below here is comments by readers or viewers, in this case of YouTube. And there's a fair amount of information that can be had from them, but a lot of it is either repeating, given a personal perspective. Some of it may even be misleading, but I usually find one or two, sometimes even three nuggets of real good new information that I can extract from there and find new software or other sites that can give me more information about a given topic that might be related to the video I'm looking at. So I'm going to stop this one here altogether. But all you have to do, for those of you who haven't gotten PC Manager, go to Microsoft's site and do a search for PC Manager, and they'll give you a download of it. Now, this is the one that Wayne wants, but he's going to have to wait a little bit. This is a bit long. It's about almost 21 minutes long, and I don't totally agree with everything this person says, but that's true with almost any video or article. You may agree with some stuff. You may only somewhat agree with some stuff, and you may totally disagree with other things, depending on your knowledge and experience. So I'm going to play this one, and this one ought to be real fun. So listen up, Wayne.
So the plan today was to make a video about the new AI features coming to Windows 11. But it turns out that maybe AI isn't going to be the killer app that saves Windows 11. Because if you want to try out the fancy new AI features, it looks like you might have to buy a new PC. And it doesn't matter if your system meets the system requirements. Stay tuned. So in my last video on Windows 11 24H2, none of the AI features were working, so I pretty much just covered a few of them and couldn't show you how they worked. So the basis of this video is to go back and to show you how they worked. Now that I have a computer that has a neural processing unit. Unfortunately, though, it looks like you're going to need more than an NPU in order to use the new AI features in Windows. It looks like you're actually going to have to buy a new PC, and that's been blessed by Microsoft to run the new AI features. Now, this isn't a lack of hardware requirements. This is literally Microsoft saying that only these specific computers can use these features. At least that's the way it looks like to me. So that's what we're going to talk about today. But first, I got to pay some bills. So check out today's sponsor. Is your copy of Windows 10 unactive? Hit activate. Now you don't have to you don't get to play with the new toys, even if it supports the hardware requirements for them. So apparently then, Microsoft didn't learn their lesson when it comes to ridiculous hardware requirements for Windows 11. Now they're literally going to make you buy a computer from an OEM manufacturer in order to use certain features in Windows, regardless of the hardware requirements. Now, granted, I may be completely wrong about this, but I spent about 5 hours trying to get these features to work in the latest beta build of Windows 11. And essentially, every time I got hit with a brick wall saying that if I wanted to use these features, I needed a Copilot Plus PC. And it gave me a whole list of manufacturers where I could go purchase one. Even though I have an Intel Core Ultra CPU with an NPU, doesn't matter. I need to buy a $1,000 computer from Dell in order to play with these new features. Since I'm not going to do that, I'm just going to show you what I can show you without actually showing you what they are, I guess, if that makes any sense. But so let's jump on the computer and I'll show you what I can, and I won't show you what I can't. Okay, so here we are in Windows 11 24H2. If we go into System right here and we scroll down to About, you can see I'm on 24H2 and this is build 26100.712. Now this is the latest beta at the time of filming this video. So this is actually a newer beta version than the one that I showed in my last 24H2 video. But we're going to be covering mostly just the AI features in this one. And the first of those features is going to be actually a really cool upgrade to Paint. And believe it or not, I bet you haven't seen a video on Paint lately, have you? But this one right here essentially is the co-creator, or in this case, it's actually not going to be the co-creator, it's going to be the image creator. But like I said, this computer isn't blessed as a Copilot Plus PC, so we're stuck with this. So essentially what this does is it actually helps you to create images using AI. Now you have to have a Microsoft account to use this. So essentially what you can do is you type in right here what you want. So in this case, we're going to let's try a house built from leaves. That's interesting. So a house built from leaves, and hit enter, and it'll go through and it'll build you through AI a picture based on your search term that you made. And it looks like it might take a second. You can also choose the style right here too. So as you can see, we've got a bunch of different houses right here, or you can select different styles as well. So if you want sketch or digital art, pixel art, things of that nature. So let's go ink sketch and then hit enter again and see what happens. And of course, it'll take a minute. And there we go. Okay, you know what? It actually looked better before. So I'm going to get no selection, hit enter again, and we're going to go back to the other one. And we're going to go through here. We're going to pick one of these. So pick the one you like, double click on it, and it throws it out right here onto your Paint. So you can edit it as if it's a picture you drew yourself. So that does look fun and useful, but it gets even better, of course, if you have a blessed Copilot Plus PC. Because Co-Creator actually isn't Co-Creator anymore. They renamed it to Image Creator, which is what we just played with. And then they used the original name Co-Creator to make it even cooler. Essentially, what you're going to be able to do is not only just type what you're wanting to draw, but actually draw a rudimentary version of it, and the AI will draw you a picture based on your sketch and your text. Now, this would have been an awesome feature to show you guys, but of course,
I can only use it if I buy a PC that's been blessed with a Copilot Plus PC sticker. So, since we can't play with the cool version of Paint, I guess we'll have to move on to the next feature. That feature is going to be Studio Effects. This is an AI feature that will take your webcam image and change the lighting and background to make it look more like a professional image, or like it was filmed on a professional camera. Now, looking at the demos for this feature, it looks really cool. Unfortunately, it's another one of those features where you have to buy a computer with the blessed Copilot Plus sticker on the front. It looks like you can't use it in Windows 11 without Microsoft's blessing, which this one is strange because apparently this feature was enabled previously, but then went away and became a premium feature that you can only get if you buy a computer that has a special sticker on it. Because, that sticker is really important. That's what makes it all work, of course. It's not the NPU or the GPU, it's the sticker. So, since I can't really show you how it works, I guess we'll just move on to the next feature. And the next feature, luckily, I can show you. So let's jump back on the computer and I'll show it to you. Okay, this next feature, we can go ahead and close Paint right now, and we don't have to save it. But this next feature is called Voice Clarity. And essentially what this does is it allows you, it kind of cleans up the microphone sound. It gets rid of a lot of reverb and a lot of background noise from your audio to make your audio sound better when you're on Zoom and other programs like that. Now, it's supposed to be enabled automatically. So right now, obviously, I'm using my lapel mic. But right now, I'm going to switch over to the audio that's being recorded in OBS. So this is the audio that's actually being recorded on the system itself that I use to kind of synchronize my audio and video when I do screen capture. So you'll be able to hear kind of the audio that isn't on my lapel mic. Now, of course, this audio sounds like it does. I don't know what it actually sounds like. I won't know it until after I edit this video. But I'm going to go ahead and record another segment in Windows 10 without voice clarity. Let's see if there's any different. And I'll go ahead and play that right now. So now we're going to be testing this on Windows 10 to see if it sounds any better than Windows 11. So, does it sound any better? Now, I don't know if the audio sounded any better on that. In fact, I won't know until I sit down to edit this video. But apparently this feature used to require an NPU, but now it works without one. Supposedly, it's just automatically enabled all the time. So there's no way to turn it on or off, and that's why I recorded audio now on Windows 11 on 24H2, and then later on, after I do this segment, I'll go back and I'll record audio in Windows 10 22H2 using the exact same microphone, so you can tell if it was better or worse. But you'll have already heard that, so let me know in the comments below if it was better. Could you tell the difference? Now, the next feature that I want to talk about is another one that, unfortunately, we don't have the blessing to use, and that's a new version of Copilot. Currently, Copilot acts like an app that is pinned to your taskbar by default. However, the new Copilot will be all the way over to the right-hand side of the screen, like this image right here. According to what I've read about, it's because I couldn't actually use it, unfortunately. It's supposed to be able to handle system functions like the computer itself. So you'll be able to turn the volume up or down, or turn the Wi-Fi on and off, and things like that. One of the commands that is supported, if I understand it correctly, will be to give you your IP address. I think that would actually be a pretty cool feature. It's almost to the point to where we can talk to our computers like in Star Trek. That actually sounds really cool. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to test it because my computer's not blessed with that little sticker that says Copilot Plus PC. I'm really going to have to find someone to buy one of those stickers from. But in the meantime, since I really can't say anything else about the new Copilot Plus, I guess we'll just have to move on to the next feature. And that feature is live captions. Now, Windows has had live captions in the past, but now we have live captions that make use of the NPU and are able to translate different languages. Now, this feature I actually did get working, and I even found a couple of YouTube videos in Chinese and German to show how it worked, and it did work. Unfortunately, it wouldn't translate Chinese at all, and it would only translate about 30% of the German. But unfortunately, after turning it off and trying to turn it back on again, it broke and I haven't been able to get it to work again. It essentially just sits there and says it's enabling and stays there forever. I'm not going to read really hard on Microsoft about that because this is a beta build of Windows 11. So obviously we can expect some bugs. So hopefully by the time it's released, these bugs will be worked out, and hopefully its ability to translate from different languages is a little bit better than it is right now. Because based on my limited testing prior to breaking it, it didn't really work that great. At least not in Chinese or German. Maybe Spanish would work better. I don't know. It kind of stinks though because I wanted to kind of try to test it on Klingon.
Which that's all no.
He must have some personally. Universal translator would be recognized.
And that brings us to the last feature and the one that ultimately inspired this video. This one, I can honestly say, I'm happy I cannot show you because, yes, it's that bad. This new feature in Windows 11 is called Windows Recall. Now, a lot of people have been mentioning this to me, so I'm finally doing a video on it. This is a feature that essentially turns your computer into the ultimate spying machine. To be honest with you, Windows Recall is a feature that every intelligence agency has been waiting for. Seriously. And by waiting for, I mean I wouldn't be surprised if the CIA helped implement this feature. This is a feature that is going to take screenshots every few seconds while you use your computer. And it's going to use AI to analyze those screenshots so it can put them into a searchable database. So essentially, so you can search for everything that you've done in the past. Now, that does seem kind of like a cool feature if it didn't come with a massive privacy problem. I mean, have you ever wanted to go back to that website that had that picture of that actor from that movie from the 80s, but you can't remember his name or the movie's name and even the website's name? Wouldn't it be neat just to ask the computer that question, just how I just asked it, and have it give you the website? Yeah, that would be pretty cool. However, how would you like that same database to be in the hands of someone that you don't want to know what websites you visited or what things you've done on your computer? Yeah, that could be a problem. But Microsoft assures us that these screenshots are only stored locally on your system, and the AI that analyzes it is going to be the NPU on your own system. So the data will never leave your local machine. And we can totally trust that that's going to be the case because when I think privacy, I think Microsoft. Oh, first off, Windows Recall is not going to be an opt-in feature. Yes, you can disable it, but by default, it's turned on. You can also configure it to not watch when you're using certain apps or going to certain websites. But of course, that's on an opt-out basis. By default, it watches everything. So essentially, this is a feature that watches everything you do and categorizes it all into a database that's easily searchable. What could possibly go wrong? Well, let's go over some ways it could go wrong then. For one, your computer might get compromised. It's not that uncommon for a fake tech support scam or Amazon refund scam to have a scammer take remote control of your computer. What do you think they would be able to do if they had an entire database of everything that you do on your computer? That would include your banking information, your login credentials, or all the websites you visit. And you know what? Let's hope you don't have a Word document that has all your passwords listed on it. We wouldn't want a screenshot of that now, would we? And another thing that could go wrong is you could get in trouble with law enforcement. Could they subpoena your computer? How convenient for them that everything is neatly categorized in a searchable database with pictures and everything. Now, I know, many people might say that if you don't do anything wrong, you don't have anything to worry about. Tell that to the dude spending a decade in prison for having some words taken out of context. And maybe you do things wrong. Hey, I'm not here to judge. I'm just telling you that you might not want to have this feature turned on if that happens to be you. I mean, it's probably best not to have stuff like that stored, if you know what I mean. I'm sorry, but this feature is just downright stupid. I mean, who wants a searchable database of everything you do on your computer? Come on, who thought that was a good idea? I mean, it's true that some people have read the book 1984 and thought it was an instruction manual. But come on, this is ridiculous. Not only that, but this feature is storing screenshots every couple of seconds while building a database of everything you do on your computer. Are you telling me that that's not going to be a little resource intensive? I mean, stupid doesn't even begin to describe how bad of an idea this feature is. Luckily, this is another one of those features that you don't get to play with unless your computer is blessed with that little sticker that says Copilot plus PC. If you can't tell, I've filmed a lot of this video very sarcastically. And to be honest with you, it's because I'm kind of pissed off. We've been complaining now for several years about the arrogance of Microsoft making ridiculous hardware requirements for Windows 11. Now, if you want to use the newest features of Windows 11, the latest hardware requirements is a frickin' sticker. Seriously? Now, you know, I might be completely wrong about this, and if I am, please let me know down in the comments below. You're free to call me all the names you want. If I just misunderstood how these features are going to be rolling out, then I'd just really like to know. But from everything I looked at, it looks like these features are going to be premium features for computers that are blessed with a little sticker that says Copilot plus PC. Now, granted, when it comes to features like Windows Recall, that's actually awesome. Because as long as you don't buy a PC that says Copilot Plus, you won't have to worry about that. And I can tell you right now that if I'm right and this is how they're rolling these features out, I do not recommend buying a computer that says Copilot Plus. In fact, that sticker might as well say, brought to you by the Federal Bureau of Investigations. However, if these features eventually are going to come on regular PCs without, that special little sticker, then this is very concerning. This means that Microsoft has came to a point to where not only do they flagrantly disregard your privacy, but they're not even trying to hide it anymore. I mean, hear me out. We already have a good portion of the population that don't trust AI. If your first big AI app on the desktop PC is a program that catalogs everything you do on your computer, then that's just going to increase people's distrust for AI. I did a video a while back where I asked the question if AI is going to kill us. If you'd like, you can check that video out here. I think I might have been onto something, man.
Okay, I'm stopping that one there. Now, he didn't get explicitly into the amount of storage that might be needed by this recall feature. He just said it's going to be resource intensive. That means CPU, NPU, GPU, and as well as storage. But until this is a usable form of feature and somebody has a Copilot plus PC to run it on, we're not going to know the exact answer of how much storage you're going to need. But it's going to probably mean that right now you have a lot of systems that are within 2 years old selling with 1 gigabyte storage drives right off the bat. Something tells me on a Copilot Plus PC unit, you may be looking at 2 or 4 gigabyte boot up drive to store all this information on, unless you're blessed with a machine that has more than 1 drive capability. And even with that, usually you only get 2 drives unless you have a desktop unit. Now, as far as what he doesn't say in his sarcastic video, which is informative. It's a case where all the information Recall is collecting in that database, it is encrypted. The only question right now that I have not heard an answer for is this encrypted on the fly, or when you log into the computer, does it decrypt the database? In which case, his argument about a compromised system does have access to the live database. If it's encrypted on the fly and always kept encrypted, all they get is the recent stuff that they have seen while hooked up to your system. If you realize that you are compromised, you kill it and they don't see anything further. That means that every account you went to, you're going to have to change some of the information in it in a hurry so that you are not really hackable by them. And that's not a joke. So this is my take on this. I'm opening the floor to anybody else's view and opinion of this video.
Not what I want.
Why not? Aren't you a saint? I'm not even sure if God would want this feature. But that's why it is so controversial out on the internet and social media. It's unbelievable.
So, do we know yet how serious Microsoft really is about this?
It's going to be there, period.
And you can't run Windows 11 without it?
No, that you didn't pick up on that in his presentation there towards the end. First off, unless you have a Copilot Plus PC blessed system, this doesn't even work.
Yeah.
So anybody who has a 8th gen Intel or a compliant Ryzen system and a few other old processors that run 11 natively, who cares? You can't run that, or it can't run on your system. There may be some of those other features that he brought up in the first half of the video. Some of them you'll be able to use, like the paint and the improved sound. But some of them you're not going to be able to run on your current Windows 11 system. And I'm not that bothered by most of them. I mean, I'm not an artsy type of person to begin with. An artsy person might be have a problem. As far as Copilot, now able to run your computer with the microphone always on to take commands. Increase my volume 5% or increase my volume 10%. Dim my display by 10%. Go from power saving mode to balance mode or to high power mode. Things like that. If you have smart devices, then you might be able to control them also by talking to the computer. This is the Star Trek concept of being able to talk to your computer and have it do things for you instead of you manually having to remember how to do things and manually doing them.
I'm guessing they're going to get into a generational divide there as to who talks to stuff, who talks to their tech, and who doesn't.
Well, here's the other thing. Now, as of today, there's about 6 Copilot Plus PCs, all laptops, all with ARM chips, now available for purchase. I don't know what the prices are. I haven't looked. I just know today was supposed to be the date they become available. I'm more interested anyhow in non-ARM, but the ARM processors are coming in the future, and they have more capability than those of us who've had experience with older ARM processors. So I'm encouraged by that factor only. Uh, some of you may have heard there is a Windows 12. It's supposed to have come out this fall along with Windows 11 24H2 release. Well, here's the thing. The last word I was able to find on that, it probably will not come out until the end of the year sometime, meaning December, around Christmas time, something like that. I don't know. And the reason for that is it's giving the manufacturers of our computers time to make a lot of these Copilot Plus PC systems to start being available in Intel, Ryzen, and ARM chips across the board. But right now, you cannot get an Intel. You cannot get a Ryzen that will run every feature that is supposed to come out with Windows 11 24H2 and eventually Windows 12 will be all probably mandatory for this Copilot Plus PC. I don't know if you'll be able to run any part of Windows 12. I've heard nothing so far on any Windows compliant PC right now. Any other ideas, comments, etc.? How about you, James? You got you and your wife with your Windows 11 compliant laptops. How do you feel about not having a Copilot Plus PC, but a older version which runs 11 anyhow, but won't have some of these new gee-whiz features?
Well, really, I don't do much anyway on my computer, so it doesn't matter to me. I
Okay.
don't take pictures, and that's about it.
Well, your wife might be interested in this recall feature if she ever wants to buy a Copilot Plus PC.
I doubt it.
Yeah.
Never can tell, but I doubt it.
That's the other thing, too. Right now, we don't know what the prices are going to be. The way he talks, they're going to be on the expensive side. And that's because of the addition of the NPU. And the NPU on the Ultras that exist right now, I don't know what their TOPS rating is, but on a Copilot Plus PC, you have to have a minimum of 40 TOPS rating or higher. So it may mean that on the Ultra CPU that he has there right now from Intel, which contains an NPU, doesn't meet that minimum requirement. I don't know. It could be more than that. But I have additional information coming up, and some of it's good, some of it's bad. It depends on you, the individual, and what you want to try and achieve with your equipment. So that said, I'm going to close this one out. I've only got 2 more videos and then more articles. I hate that popping up. But anyway, all right. Let's see what we, now this one here, there's, I don't know how big it is. Partly because we don't know how many people that have 11 want this. and how many people are not adopting 11 who might be interested in it. But basically, this one here video, I'll show you only a part of because I think it runs about 30 minutes long. And it is.
Are you sick of the Windows 11 start menu and want something a little bit more functional? In fact, do you want to be able to change almost the entire UI in Windows 11? If so, stay tuned. Today we're looking at Start 11 V2. I'm assuming that stands for version 2, but this program is one that I covered probably a year or two ago, but I didn't spend a lot of time on it because I was doing a video on several different start menu replacements. But unlike the last video, this video is going to be dedicated to just Start 11 because I think the changes that have been made in version 2 are really good. So I wanted to go over that and show you what you can do to modify the Windows 11 UI. And there's seriously a lot you can do with it. But first, I got to pay some bills. So check out today's sponsor. Okay, so here we are in a relatively stock copy of Windows 11. As you can see, we're in the default start menu right here, and we're going to change a lot about what makes Windows 11 Windows 11. And first, we have to actually install Start 11. So to do that, we need to go to their website right here, and I'll go ahead and have a link to this in the description below. And I'm just going to try the demo here, but you can also purchase the full version if you wanted to. So we're going to go ahead and click try for free right here, and we're going to go ahead and click this link to get the download started right away. Now, it might take a second to download. It's going to take about a minute. So I'm going to skip ahead until then, and we'll get to installing it. Okay, now that it's done downloading, go ahead and click on our little folder icon here to open up our downloads folder. And I'm going to minimize Google Chrome here. Okay, to start the install, all we have to do is just double click on the installer right here. Go ahead and hit yes to user account control. Hit yes to the terms to the license. Nice. And go through the regular process that you would go to install any program. And now that it's installed, it wants you to enter a product key or start a 30-day trial. So I'm going to go ahead and close this folder in the background here. And we're going to start a 30-day trial. Now for this, it wants an email address. Now if you want, you can go ahead and put your email address in. But personally, I don't like spam. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to Temp Mail right here. And I'm going to use a temporary email address. We're going to go ahead and paste this in here and hit continue. And then from this point, it says it sent you a verification email. Well, the nice thing about using Temp Mail is, there we go. There is our email right there. And we can go ahead and activate our 30-day trial. And it's successful. So at this point, we can go ahead and close our browser and hit finish here. And there we go. Now we're in our 30-day trial. And at this point, you get to decide whether or not you want your start menu to be left aligned or center aligned. For right now, I'm going to leave it center aligned, but we're going to go through all those settings also. So go ahead and hit OK. And at this point, you have all the different start menu designs that you can choose from. But by default, it comes with a Windows 7 style. So we go ahead and click the start menu. As you can see, it looks really similar to Windows 7. And as you flip through here, you can go ahead and check the different styles. All you got to do is just click on the style here and then click your start menu, and you'll see that it automatically changed. Now, this one here is similar to the Windows 7 style, but I guess it's a more modern Windows 7 style. Then we can go to the Windows 10 style. And as you can see, this actually does look a lot like the Windows 10 start menu. And then we can go to the Windows 11 style. And it does, in fact, look a lot like the Windows 11 start menu. However, if you already had Windows 11, I'm not sure why you'd want the Windows 11 start menu, but I digress. So if we go to the Windows app style, it says it's an updated Windows 11 style. And if we click on it, as you can see, that it's actually a really nice start menu. Essentially, this one has all your pinned apps here, like the regular Windows 11 start menu, and then all your recent documents down at the bottom right here. And then it also has your all programs sitting over on the right-hand side. And this actually is kind of useful, but as you can see, it takes up quite a bit of space. And then on the top, it has your icons for your user account and all your other utilities and things of that nature. Now, I'm not sure why it has two different pin sections, but I guess you could move things from one pin section to the other if you wanted to. So yeah, I guess you can have different pins. I guess this makes sense. and then you go through, and I'm assuming, yeah, you can rename them. So you can rename the different sections if you wanted to, and you can have several different sections. So it definitely is a more advanced Windows 11 start menu. But I'm pretty sure if you go to let's go to the regular Windows 11 style and look at that again, it also has several different pin sections, and you have the all apps just like the Windows 11 one does. So you have that in both of these options, the Windows 11 style and the Windows app style. And then if we go to the Windows Pro style, as you can see, it's changed quite a bit. Essentially, this one has kind of a similar Windows 11-like start menu on the left-hand side. And then on the right-hand side, it has more of your utilities, things of that nature, kind of similar to the way Windows 7 used to have it. So if you want to, you can create your documents or whatnot just by clicking on these icons on the right-hand side. And it's nice, it actually has a control panel link, so you can get to the classic control panel. And then right here, you have a Windows launcher style. So if we click on that, it essentially gives you more of a basic style that has your username up at the top, the power button up at the top, as well as the regular Windows 11 style start menu down on the bottom. So in this one, I think I'm going to pick the Windows Pro style because honestly, I like that one better. But you can choose any one you want. But now that we've chosen which start menu that we want to go with, let's go down into the configuration menu right here and look at some of the customizations that we can make to the start menu as well. And keep in mind that these customizations differ between which start menu you decide you want to use. And as you go through here, you can see there's all kinds of different things that you can change within this start menu. Like you can manage custom filtered folders, you can manage the menu's visual experience, which is what I'm going to look at mostly, or you can show the shutdown and reboot options when connected to remote desktop. Now this is a big change right here, and this one I highly recommend turning on if you access the computer from remote desktop very often. But we're going to go into the menu visual appearance here. And then if you click on that, it gives you tons of different options that you can make. Like for instance, we can change the start menu colors by essentially just turning this off and picking a color. So right now we look like we're just black apparently. So if we click on red and hit OK, now let's look at the start menu. It is very red. Yeah, I don't think I like that at all. I'm going to leave that on auto right now, and it'll give us back our black start menu. But as you move down, there's lots of different things you can do too. Like for instance, you can adjust the menu's transparency effects. You can use a mica effect for the menu background.
Okay, I'm gonna stop this one because, like I said, this goes about 28 minutes, and I don't know how many people would be interested to start with. There is a Start 10 menu configuration, a Start 11, I assume version 1 menu, and then there's what he's talking about here, Start 11 version 2, which is more advanced. One thing I noted, there's no Windows 8 Start menu, probably because it was one of the biggest messes you could ever come across in at least Windows or any other operating system. But one piece of advice I have regarding using a product like this, if you need help from other people and they need to come into your system remotely, see your system, see your screens, be able to make some changes to correct a problem for you or show you something, they may have a little trouble figuring it out unless they happen to use the same software on their system. Otherwise, it'll take them a little while to figure out how to get things accomplished. And if you might not care, but they might care. So I give you that piece of advice. My opinion also is, and that's all it is, my opinion, is that using some of the old start menus is using a crutch. And my personal philosophy has always been to roll with the punches because A, you don't have the source code for the Windows operating system or Mac operating system, so you can't make your own custom version like you possibly could in Linux. So, if you have this attitude, I don't like change, and there's a lot of people that are like that, then you're going to be creating some change to make things look and feel at least somewhat like old Windows 7 or Windows 10 and not rolling with the punches. Now, that gives you a handicap crutch, and it may make it harder for other people to understand where you're coming from, because you may forget, oh, I'm using this product here and this is how my screen looks, and I'm trying to describe a problem to you based upon the way the screen looks. If it doesn't look like what the other people's screen looks like, how much help are you going to get? Any other comments on this particular piece of software? Hearing none, I'll move on. Okay. Last video. Don't applause all at the same time.
Welcome to the Windows Computer and Technology channel, and it would seem that something is going to change in the minimum requirements for Windows 11 24H2. Now, this does not affect people that are compatible, as compatible updates and all the PCs that are running it as they are minimum requirements okay, will not be affected as they all have this requirement. This will affect unsupported hardware users. Microsoft long ago with Windows 11 said that if you are bypassing the minimum requirements to get Windows 11, that they can't guarantee it's going to work forever. And this is the first example of some PCs that will be removed from the capabilities of Windows 11 24H2, and you will not be able to bypass this one. So on 24H2, there is something called POP CNT that will be checked. Make sure that your CPU has this. It's kind of an instruction that's set to count the number of bits that are at one. It's some weird instruction. And this means that your older CPU will have to have this instruction in it to actually work with Windows 11 24H2 unsupported. You can check it out. There's a software that you can download. I'll share the link to this CPU ID page where you can actually download the software to check out your CPU. What this will do is that it's going to bring up this little panel once installed, and you'll have information about your CPU. And what is specifically important for you to check is if you have SSE 4.2, or if you do not, SSE 4A. So one or the other, SSE 4A or SSE 4.2 instructions within the processor. If you've got that on your older CPU, 24H2, you'll be able to bypass and install on unsupported machines with 24H2. If that doesn't pop up, if you don't have these two instructions, no way to bypass, you are out of luck. Your unsupported PC, you'll have to either stay on 23H2 until the end of 2025 or move to Windows 10 or do whatever you want. But whether one or the other, the thing is you'll be at end of support of Windows 10. So at 2025, that old PC will probably you'll go to Windows 10 and pay for the extended support or do something else with it. Now, one of the things that is at least interesting is that this set of instructions still goes back quite a few years, so that means that a lot of unsupported PCs should be okay. but the oldest ones that you are upgrading might not. This is interesting. I haven't done the check on my 10-year-old plus Toshiba, and I will actually check it out to see if I have that, or if I'll be stuck at 23H2. So this is the new minimum requirement for unsupported. Once again, you are supported, there's no problem. That instruction is there for sure on your PC. If you enjoy my videos, please subscribe, give us a thumbs up. Thank you for watching.
So, basically speaking,
Oh no, Microsoft added a new hardware
oops,
requirement.
wait,
So you can't bypass it. Before
that's okay. That's a different one. But at any rate, the what I have found with my stuff is that, okay, I got several machines here, but I got two machines in front of me. One's an old Core 2 Duo that I changed to a Core 2 Quad. That's not going to work with 24H2 and beyond. The other machine runs 10 on a Phonom 2 AMD chip. It is compliant. It will run 11 unsupported right now. It will run 24H2 unsupported until some new requirement down the road obsoletes it. I have some old Phonom systems I have not had time to check out. And there's some machines that have been a real surprise. If you have a Celeron or a Pentium-based machine, I can't tell you where the dividing line is at, because some of them may go back far enough that they won't run unsupported 11, but they might in the future be disabled. I have a Pentium N as in Nancy 3710. It's compliant. It will run unsupported Windows 11. Now, I'm not recommending using a computer as an unsupported system. Basically speaking, my philosophy is, if you are a person who has to call Microsoft when they have a problem on their system to figure it out and get it straightened out, never run an unsupported system. You are totally responsible for figuring it out. You can use friends, user group members that may have more knowledge and may be able to help you straighten it out, but you're basically on your own. James Kincaid here has an older machine. I know what it is. Dennis Leeds, who I haven't seen in quite some time, it has the same machine that can run Windows 11 unsupported. But if he is not an experimenter, a tech-savvy person, he may decide, I don't want the headache, and not do it. But then that leaves him two problems. Windows 10 becomes unsupported October of next year. And if you can afford and justify up to 3 years extended support for the security patches, then you're okay to run it up to 3 more years. After that, what do you do with it? One of the problems we have right now in this country is too much e-waste going into landfills. So you can use a form of Chrome OS called Flex. So it's Chrome OS Flex, and it will be a mostly functional Chromebook substitute on a Windows-based computer. because it's made for a Windows-based computer. But it doesn't have all the bells and whistles of true Chrome OS, Chromebook, or Chromebox. The other thing that you can use the old system for is Linux. If you're willing to learn a new operating system and be able to adapt it enough that you can do a lot of your regular work. But I will give you a proviso for anybody using Linux. There are other people I know, there are certain pieces of software that right now do not work or function as well under Linux. So they keep their Windows system going because it works fine there. This is probably true of Mac as well. Having some software that is workable on the Mac that may not work functionally as well on a Linux system. And most of this is a case of non-cross-platform software, where you're using a Linux alternative for a Windows or Mac normal program that maybe a lot of people use. A video editor, a photo editor. Now, if you like Adobe products, okay, that's a little different story. Adobe product is done online. You have to have a subscription. And it's been in the news just today that Adobe is being sued by the US government for making it too hard for people to cancel their subscription when they no longer want it. So that's something to take into account. But it works through your browser. So who cares? Browsers work on any operating system. So you can run it, and there are some games you can play on a browser or through a browser. And some of them get more sophisticated by having an app that'll probably run on Linux just as easily and give you the same game functionality. The biggest issue that you might run into is that I'm hearing so far from other sources is frame rate and lag and possibly some minor freeze-ups that when you're in a multiplayer game, that's death, so to speak, because you're going to be real ticked off with it. But as time passes, everything gets better. And right now, between X11 for your video display and Wayland still has a ways to go, but it keeps improving. So who knows? Maybe tomorrow, Wednesday, there'll be a new version of Wayland that works just as good or better than X11, and X11 will really start fading away. Don't know. That's a guess on my part. Any further comment on what we heard in the last video? Boy, everybody's got to talk at the same time. All right. In relation to the 24H2, I got an article here that explains the hardware requirements of SSE 4.2. It applies, at least in part, to SSE 4A, which sounds like it might have been an early adoption of AMD. Right now, any Intel processor from about 2008 forward should work. So if you have a sticker on your system that says Intel Core I and the number 3, 5, 7, or 9, it's going to work. AMD didn't make it compliant until 2011, if I understood it right. But that's not totally true. It may be for 4.2, but apparently 4.A is in earlier ones because I have that Windows 10 system that's got a Phonom 2 processor that runs 11 and will run the 24H2 as unsupported. So you have that. And this is in the handout that I'll be giving out shortly. So we have that one. And oops, wrong one. Did it again. Multiple computers, multiple displays. Got rid of that. Now this one here, Microsoft blocks some PCs. So if you got an old Core 2 Dual, a Pentium 4, even older stuff, a Pentium 3, I can't think of some of the other ones off the top of my head, you're out of luck. If 11 ran unsupported on those old ones, they're not going to run after 24H2 is out. So you'd either have to stay on 23H2, which will no longer get security updates March or April of 2025. So keep that in mind. And it gives you the fact that if your CPU is not supporting the 4A or the 4.2, and you download and install 24H2 for Windows 11, as soon as you restart your computer or you shut down and then start it up again, it's not going to boot up, and it's not something you can bypass. These are microcode instructions. One instruction that was brought up in the video is called pop count. POPCNT. It's a microcode instruction originally probably created by the NSA 66 years ago. Then it went into disuse, and for some reason in 2008, Intel resurrected it, and AMD didn't support the 4.2 until 2011, but they have 4A available, and that should keep you running. There are some video requirements besides the pop count instruction that may be looked at and may be required also that are part of 4.2. I'm not sure if all of those are available in 4A. So I'm just letting you know. The program that they brought up is quite common and used by a lot of people to see various settings. You can make some changes through that for your system. Here's how to know if you have these things. So it gives you some more instructions. And down in here, there is I'm pretty there is I'm positive in this one here, a particular link in blue that will download a little ISO image that's less than 250 megabytes in size. You put it on a flash card that has no stuff on it that is of value to you, because it'll be wiped out when you put the ISO image on using either Blenda Etcher or Rufus or similar programs to put an ISO image on a flash drive. And then you just boot up your computer off that flash drive and you'll know if it's compliant or not, because you'll see that same image of the if it's a compliant computer for unsupported 11 come up on the screen within a matter of a minute or so. If it sits there doing the round around circle for more than a minute, forget it. You'll have to shut off the computer by the power switch, take out the flash drive, and boot it up with whatever it's got on it right now. So that's another one. And oops, again, I'm grabbing the wrong mouse. This one here is from Wikipedia that gives you detailed information about 4E and its extensions and so forth. So there's been the original 4A, 4.1, and 4.2 so far that I know of. Now, Apple is late to the game, but guess what? They are now getting into, oh, cancel anytime. Yeah, right. Anyway, it's basically Apple is getting into the AI game with the big boys. They have made a contract with Open Chat GTP, just like Microsoft did. So when you start seeing this, I'm not sure, but it may not be until this fall when the new version of Mac OS comes out. And I don't know when it'll appear on iOS and iOS Pad for tablets. PC upgrades that will have the biggest impact on performance. This is something basic, but this little guy here is becoming more and more a needed piece of software in computers to offload a lot of work your CPU has been using, going as far back as your memory can go with, say, like the Intel 8008 forward processors, because the graphics chip on the motherboard requires the CPU to run software to create the image you see on any display device with your computer. That takes time, and it's using a chunk of your main program memory. If you have too many applications running, they're going to conflict with the GPU trying to create the video image you are looking at. And when the conflict starts occurring, you end up with freeze-ups, dropout of video, and you get a black screen for a period of time, then it might come back. It may affect your audio also. It's also getting to be, for some folks, they need an old-fashioned plug-in audio card, like Sound Blaster used to be. Why? Because this GPU card, along with something like a Sound Blaster card, are hardware accelerators. They take the workload of software running to give you your sound and your video away from the CPU so it can focus on all your other apps running. And the hardware accelerators in the graphic processor and in the music will give you the better and more stable video and audio that you really want out of your system. And this affects even Zoom meetings. And I'm not joking when I say that. Because a problem I had discovered last year, I think around August, I had to get new graphic cards. Now, I don't buy new much of anything, period. I bought two used graphic cards with 2 gigabytes of discrete memory, put them in, and most of my problems all disappeared. The only thing that might be also of advantage is getting something like an audio card like the Sound Blaster to put in to do audio hardware acceleration also. So these are some things. SSD upgrade. That's been around for a long time and been recommended by many of our meetings. It's a fact of life. GPUs with more memory. For most of us, 2 to 6 gigabytes, and those are old cards, by the way, is adequate. 8 gigs and higher is more for gamers or people who do heavy creation of videos and video editing. They will appreciate the extra memory and it will offload a lot. Also, this AI can benefit from a good GPU with the right characteristics. But the best ones are NVIDIA, but they don't always play well with Linux. But with a GPU, you're going to be able to offload a lot of extra work and get quicker responses from AI, whether you have an NPU or not. Some of the other things. RAM. It isn't that long ago that we were recommending 16 gigabytes. Now the way they're talking, you need 32. I don't see that yet for anything I'm doing, and most people probably will not need it either. These are heavy, either gamers and or people doing a lot of serious photo editing, video editing and creation, things like that that require huge resources. Most of us, I'd be surprised if I even had a system where I would need to go not only beyond 16, but I don't think I would need more than the 24. Some systems, newer stuff, may perform somewhat better with more memory, but not always. DDR5 is out now. DDR4 is now passe, like DDR3, 2, and the original DDR or DDR1 memory. So, and the speeds are just out of sight on some of the DDR5 memory. I've got a nephew that's got a machine with DDR5, and the speed of the memory is like, I think the ones he had were 4800 that he'll give me because I have older stuff, and he probably got something that's much higher than 5 gigahertz in speed for the memory modules alone, let alone CPUs. More and more may max out at 4 to 5 gigahertz, and some are going to 6. So are we ever going to get a machine we're happy with absolutely the speed we don't need anymore? That's the $64 question. Stock cooler. When you start going into extreme speed, the graphics card, the CPU, especially if you're like a serious gamer, and some cases I've even heard of memory modules and SSD modules needing liquid cooling, but there are dangers with that. So you really got to do your homework if you ever want to go to liquid cooling. That's the end of that one. And I'm going to stop there because it's already 9:05. I'm going to put in the chat the article file so you guys can get around to downloading it. And I'll find it somewhere in this universe. Copy. And I want to go down to, come on. Oh, I'm not sharing. That's why. Stop. Okay, I gotta stop that. All right, let's see if I can get this puppy in. Okay. And for those of you who want the document, you'll see a green dot with a check mark in the chat. If you click on chat, it'll open up a panel on your right side, and you'll see the document is the last item. And it's a, if you click on that document, it'll download to your computer, and it has the article titles and URLs to open up the videos and the articles, including a bunch that I didn't get to. We just don't have enough time. And I always like giving you guys more work to do to give you something to keep you off the street corner and keep you out of trouble. Does anybody have any other questions, issues at this point? I'm still recording. Okay, then I'm gonna give me a moment. I'm gonna stop the recordings, I hope.
Recording stopped.
Just a minute.